Let me ask you a question right now. Have you ever looked into the eyes of someone who pulls away, yet deep down you know they care? You feel their walls, their silence, their distance. And you start questioning yourself, if they loved me, wouldn't they stay? Wouldn't they show me? Wouldn't they fight for me? Listen closely, because here's the truth: love doesn't always scream. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it hides behind fear, behind pain, behind the scars of the past. And avoidance, those who withdraw when things get too close, are not running from you. They are running from their own history of hurt. But here's where it gets powerful. If you've ever wondered whether an avoidant truly loves you, there are signs, deep, undeniable signs that their love is real. And when you see them, you'll never doubt again. Today, I'm going to give you 3 clear signs an avoidant truly loves you, and I'm going to break it down into 7 power-packed truths that will shift how you see love forever. When someone has an avoidant attachment style, their world is built on walls. Walls of protection, walls of silence, walls that say, "Don't get too close, because if you do, I'll get hurt again." For them, intimacy is not natural, it's threatening. It's not about you. It's about the patterns they've carried for years, maybe even decades. So when an avoidant begins to let you into their private world, that's not casual. That's not normal. That is monumental. It means you've crossed a line very few people are ever allowed to cross. Think about it. Most people will show you their social mask, the version of themselves they're comfortable with. But their private world, that's sacred. That's where they keep the things that actually matter. Their habits, their routines, the little quirks they usually hide, the dreams they're scared to say out loud. For an avoidant, letting you see those things is the deepest kind of intimacy they can give. It's them saying, "I trust you with the parts of me I usually protect with armor." It might not look like roses, candlelit dinners, or dramatic declarations. It might look like them inviting you over when they're not ready. It might look like them letting you see them tired, messy, unfiltered. It might look like them sharing something small, like the music they listen to when no one else is around, or the show they binge watch when they feel safe. To the outside world, these might seem insignificant. But for an avoidant, it is everything. Because what they're really saying is, "I don't need to perform with you. I don't need to hide." And here's the power in that: when you are allowed into that space, you're no longer just another person in their life. You've become someone different, someone they don't feel the need to protect themselves from. And if you've ever wondered whether an avoidant truly loves you, this is one of the clearest signs. Because avoidance isn't about lack of love, it's about fear. And when fear starts to step aside, even just a little, that's when love shows its face. Picture it like this: their private world is a locked room. Most people never even get near the door. Some are left standing outside in the hallway, knocking endlessly. But when an avoidant unlocks that door for you, even if it's just for a moment, it's because they've chosen you. They've chosen to risk the very thing they're most afraid of: being seen, being known, and potentially being hurt. That act alone is louder than 1,000 words. It means they're letting down the walls. It means they're opening a door that rarely opens. And it means, without saying it outright, "I trust you enough to show you the real me." Love is not always in the words spoken. For many people, "I love you" is the ultimate declaration. But for someone with an avoidant attachment style, those words can feel heavy, complicated, even dangerous. Words carry expectations, and expectations can trigger fear. So instead of telling you how they feel, they often show you in ways that are quieter, more subtle, but no less powerful. Their love is hidden in their actions, tucked inside the moments you might overlook. And once you learn to notice them, you'll realize they've been speaking to you all along, just in a different language. Think about this for a second: actions never lie. Words can be rehearsed, words can be withheld, but actions, they're real. If an avoidant goes out of their way to make your life a little easier, to solve a problem for you, or to be present when you didn't expect them to be, that is their way of saying, "I care about you." You might not get daily verbal reassurances, but you'll see it in the way they fix something around the house without being asked. You'll feel it in the way they check to make sure you got home safe. You'll notice it in the way they step into the background to make your day smoother without asking for recognition. This is what makes their love so unique. It's quiet, but it's steady. It's not about the grand speeches, it's about the consistency of effort. It's about how they choose to show up, even in small ways, because for someone who fears closeness, those small acts cost them more than you may ever know. Each gesture, no matter how ordinary it seems, is their heart saying, "I'm here, even when it's hard for me to be." It's easy to dismiss these moments, especially if you're someone who craves verbal affirmation. You might think, but they never say it. Why can't they just tell me? But here's the truth. When an avoidant acts out of care, it's not because they feel obligated. It's because they've overcome their own resistance to do it. That makes every action 10 times more meaningful. When they remember the little details about you, when they go out of their comfort zone to make you smile, when they quietly ensure that you're okay without turning it into a performance, they're loving you in the deepest way they know how. So don't just listen with your ears, watch with your eyes, notice the patterns. Pay attention to the energy they give, the way they show up, the silent ways they prioritize you. Because in their world, actions are not just habits, actions are confessions. And when you see those confessions clearly, you'll know without a doubt their love is real, even if the words are scarce. One of the clearest signs that an avoidant truly loves you is not found in their comfort, but in their discomfort. Avoidants are wired to run when emotions get too intense. Conflict, vulnerability, even moments of deep closeness can trigger the alarms in their nervous system. To them, intimacy often feels dangerous, like a trap that could lead to rejection or abandonment. So what do they normally do? They pull back, they create space, they escape. That is their survival mechanism. But when an avoidant loves you, something remarkable begins to happen. They don't run, not all the way. They stay. Now, staying might not look like staying for you. It might not mean sitting through every hard conversation perfectly. It might not mean they're suddenly calm and open every time you bring up a tough subject. But pay attention, because staying for them can mean they return after needing space. It can mean they resist the overwhelming urge to walk away entirely. It can mean they are standing right there, battling every instinct to flee and choosing instead to hold on to the connection. That choice, that decision to remain when everything inside them screams to run, is love in its rawest form. Imagine how hard that is. For someone whose reflex is distance, to stay present is to go against their very programming. It's like swimming upstream. It's like fighting gravity. And yet, when they truly love you, they do it. Not perfectly, not without struggle, but consistently enough that you notice. That is their commitment. That is their way of saying, "You matter more to me than my fear." You see, anyone can stay when it's easy. Anyone can be there when it's fun, light, and simple. But real love is revealed when things get hard. And if you watch closely, you'll see that an avoidant in love won't give up on you so quickly. They may stumble, they may need breaks, they may even retreat for a moment. But the difference is they come back, they re-engage, they try again. And each time they choose to stay instead of shutting the door completely, it is a victory over their old patterns. So never underestimate the courage it takes for them to remain in the arena of love. Every second they resist the instinct to bolt is a silent declaration of how deeply they care. Their staying is not small, it is monumental. Because when an avoidant loves you, their greatest act of love is not just in being close when it's easy, but in refusing to abandon you when it's hard. That's where their love speaks the loudest. One of the most misunderstood aspects of avoidant love is the cycle of distance and return. When an avoidant pulls away, it's easy to believe it means rejection, disinterest, or the end of the story. It feels personal, like they're running from you. But the truth is, they're not running from your worth. They're running from the storm inside themselves, the emotions that feel too big, too overwhelming, too risky to handle. Pulling away is their survival instinct. But here's the part you need to pay attention to. They don't stay gone. They circle back. And that return, that moment when they reconnect after distance, is not random. It's a powerful sign of love. Think about it. If someone truly didn't care, they would walk away and never look back. They wouldn't wrestle with themselves about whether to reach out again. They wouldn't feel the pull to reconnect. But when an avoidant loves you, even after the space, something draws them back. That something is the bond. That invisible thread between you is stronger than their fear. And even though stepping back into closeness feels uncomfortable for them, they do it because the connection matters more than the comfort of avoidance. This return might not come with a dramatic speech or a tearful apology. In fact, it often shows up quietly, a text out of nowhere, a casual invitation, a simple check-in that seems small but carries enormous weight. To you, it might feel subtle, but for them, it's a massive gesture. It's them pushing through fear, choosing closeness again, and risking vulnerability all over. That return is not just routine. It is proof that their love is alive beneath the surface. And here's where you see the depth of their commitment. Every cycle of pulling back and coming closer is actually a test of the bond. Each time they return, they're saying, "I may struggle, but I can't stay away from you." That's not weakness, it's evidence of attachment. It's evidence that despite their instincts, they are tethered to you in ways they don't fully understand themselves. Now imagine the strength it takes to circle back. For someone wired to avoid, coming closer again requires courage. It means confronting the very thing that terrifies them, intimacy. And yet, when love is real, it pulls them forward despite the fear. That is why the return matters so much. It is not a habit. It is not convenience. It is love triumphing over avoidance again and again. So the next time you see an avoidant come back after creating distance, don't dismiss it as inconsistency. See it for what it truly is, a silent, powerful message. It is their heart speaking louder than their fear, saying, "I choose you, even when choosing you scares me." When someone carries an avoidant attachment style, their first instinct is often self-protection. They've learned through past experiences, sometimes very early in life, that vulnerability can lead to pain. So they put up defenses, they hold back, they create space. But here's the incredible thing. When they truly love you, something shifts. Even though their walls remain, they start to care about your walls, your heart, your feelings. They may not always say the right words or express emotions the way you wish they would, but you'll notice this powerful truth: they become careful with you. They begin to protect your feelings. This protection doesn't usually come in loud, obvious ways. You might not see them making dramatic promises or sweeping declarations. Instead, it's in the way they pause before responding during a heated moment because they don't want to cut you with their words. It's in the way they avoid saying things they know would sting, even if those words are on the tip of their tongue. It's in the subtle restraint, the small hesitations, the way they're mindful of the impact they have on you. That is love. You have to understand how significant this is. For someone who often feels overwhelmed by closeness, it would be easier for them to lash out, to say whatever it takes to push you away, to release the pressure they feel inside. But when they care about you, they fight that impulse. They don't want to lose you. They don't want to damage you. They don't want to be the source of your pain. So even when they withdraw, it's not about punishing you. It's about protecting both themselves and you from unnecessary hurt. And you'll see it in other moments too. Maybe they don't always talk openly about emotions, but they'll remember what upsets you and quietly avoid doing it again. Maybe they won't pour out affection in words, but they'll step in when they sense you're hurting, even if they don't know what to say. Protecting your feelings becomes their way of showing love without breaking through their own discomfort. What makes this so profound is that it requires them to step outside their natural patterns. Avoidants aren't wired to manage emotions easily, not theirs and not anyone else's. Yet, when love is real, they learn, they adjust, they hold back sharp words. They become gentler than they were before. They begin to consider how their actions land on you, because your heart matters to them more than their instinct to defend themselves. So when you notice an avoidant holding back anger instead of unleashing it, when you notice them thinking twice before speaking, when you notice them quietly choosing not to wound you in the ways they easily could, that is not weakness. That is not indifference. That is love, dressed in restraint, showing up in the smallest yet most powerful of ways. One of the easiest mistakes to make when loving an avoidant is expecting big, dramatic gestures to confirm their feelings. You look for the grand declarations, the surprise getaways, the constant words of affirmation. But that's not their love language. For an avoidant, love often shows itself in something far quieter, but also far more reliable: consistency in the small things. And if you pay attention, you'll see that this consistency speaks volumes. It may not be obvious at first because consistency doesn't scream, it whispers. It doesn't demand attention, it builds trust brick by brick, moment by moment. When an avoidant truly loves you, you'll start to notice patterns. They text you back, even if it's not paragraphs of emotion. They call you not to deliver a speech about how much you mean to them, but just to check in, to hear your voice, to let you know they're there. They make space for you in their routine, in their day, in their private time. For someone who guards their personal space fiercely, this is no small thing. Think about how powerful this is. Avoidants thrive on independence. They're protective of their solitude, their freedom, their alone time. That space is their safe zone. So when they consistently let you into that space, when they reach out, when they show up, when they keep the thread alive, they're saying, without words, "You're important enough to me that I'll share the very thing I treasure most, my time and my presence." And don't underestimate the weight of small actions done repeatedly. A single romantic gesture might impress in the moment, but consistency builds security. Consistency builds belief. It reassures you not just once, but over and over that you matter. And for someone with an avoidant style, consistency is the ultimate proof of love because it goes against their natural pull toward withdrawal. They might struggle with closeness, but if they love you, they fight that struggle every day by showing up in ways that matter. Maybe it's the way they check that you've eaten. Maybe it's the way they remember the details you shared in passing. Maybe it's the way they make sure you're comfortable when they're around you. These are not small things. These are their way of weaving love into the fabric of daily life. They may not be shouting their love from rooftops, but they're living it in the quiet details. And here's the key: consistency is not accidental. It's intentional. Anyone can make a big move once, but to keep showing up day after day, especially when closeness feels difficult, requires a choice. That choice is love in action. When you see that steady rhythm of presence, effort, and care, know that you are witnessing an avoidant loving you in the truest way they know how. For an avoidant, vulnerability is the hardest mountain to climb. It is the very thing they've spent their entire lives protecting themselves from. Vulnerability feels like exposure. It feels like standing in the open without armor, without defenses, without a way to run if something goes wrong. That's why avoidants are so skilled at keeping their emotions under lock and key. They'd rather hide behind silence, distance, or even logic than let someone see the fragile truths that live inside their hearts. And yet, when an avoidant truly loves you, something extraordinary begins to happen. Slowly, carefully, they let you see pieces of that hidden world. It won't happen all at once. Don't expect them to suddenly pour out every fear, every scar, every insecurity in a dramatic confession. Vulnerability for them often comes in fragments, in small doses, in fleeting moments. It might be them admitting that they're scared of losing you. It might be them revealing something about their past they've never said to anyone. It might be them allowing you to witness their tears, their stress, their self-doubt. These moments are rare, but when they happen, you're witnessing something sacred. Because for an avoidant, to open up is to risk everything they've been taught to protect. Think about the courage that takes. For most of their lives, they've been carrying the belief that showing weakness is dangerous, that needing someone is unsafe. But love has a way of breaking down walls that seemed unbreakable. When they let you see their vulnerability, it's not because they suddenly find it easy. It's because their love for you outweighs their fear of exposure. They are saying, "I trust you with the parts of me I don't trust anyone else to see." And the truth is, this is the ultimate sign of love. Words can be spoken lightly, actions can sometimes be misunderstood, but vulnerability cannot be faked. Vulnerability requires surrender. It requires a decision to risk being hurt in exchange for being known. When an avoidant makes that decision with you, you have to recognize the magnitude of it. They are showing you their truest self, not the polished version, not the distant mask, but the raw and unguarded human being underneath. In those moments, you are no longer just someone in their life, you become their safe place. You become the person they choose to trust with the very parts of themselves they swore they would never reveal. And that, more than anything else, is love in its purest, most undeniable form. Love doesn't always look the way we expect it to. It doesn't always shout. It doesn't always sparkle with grand displays. Sometimes it hides in the quiet corners of someone's heart, waiting for the right moment to step out. With avoidance, love is rarely wrapped in flowery words or endless reassurance. Instead, it shows up in the silent battles they fight every day, the decision to let you into their private world, the effort to stay when every instinct tells them to run, the courage to return after creating distance, the choice to protect your heart, the consistency in the smallest of things, and finally, the breathtaking act of showing you their vulnerability. These are not small signs. They are profound. When you take a step back and look at the whole picture, you realize something powerful. Avoidance is not the absence of love. It is the fear of it. And yet, when love is strong enough, it pushes past the fear. Every act, every gesture, every return, every moment of openness, these are the ways an avoidant says, "I love you," even when the words may never leave their lips. If you've ever doubted whether you are loved because the expression didn't fit your expectation, you can release that doubt. Their love may not look like everyone else's, but it is just as real, just as deep, and often even more meaningful because it fights through resistance to exist at all. Think about what that means for you. It means you are not just loved casually, you are loved courageously. You are loved by someone who has to wrestle with their own history, their own fears, their own walls, and still, they choose you. That choice is not light. That choice is everything, because loving you requires them to grow. It requires them to challenge the patterns they've lived by for years. It requires them to step into the very thing they once believed was unsafe: intimacy. You are not just a partner in their life, you are the catalyst for their transformation. And here's the beautiful paradox. While you may sometimes feel starved of words or gestures, what you are really being given is love at its most raw and unpolished form. Love that is built not on habit, not on easy expression, but on sacrifice. Sacrifice of comfort, sacrifice of safety, sacrifice of the distance that once kept them protected. They give up pieces of their armor for you, and with every piece they lay down, they prove how deeply you matter to them. That kind of love is rare. That kind of love is priceless. So if you've seen the signs, if you've witnessed their consistency, their quiet protection, their return after distance, their moments of openness, understand what you are witnessing. You are watching someone step out of fear and into love. You are witnessing a story of courage, not avoidance. You are standing in front of proof that love can win, even when the odds are stacked against it. Don't dismiss it. Don't overlook it. Honor it, because it is a love that had to climb mountains just to reach you. At the end of the day, the question isn't whether avoidance can love. The real question is, can you recognize their love when it doesn't look like the movies, when it doesn't match your scripts, when it shows up in whispers instead of shouts? If you can, then you will see that being loved by an avoidant is not being loved less. It is being loved with a quiet intensity that many will never experience. And if you hold on to that truth, if you embrace those signs, you will never again wonder where you stand. You will know you are loved deeply, powerfully, silently, and undeniably. Thank you so much for watching and being part of this journey. Your time, your energy, and your presence here truly mean the world. If this message spoke to your heart, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe so together we can keep spreading awareness, healing, and growth. Every view, every comment, and every connection here makes this community stronger, and I'm grateful to have you as part of it. Remember, love and transformation start from within, and the more we understand, the more we rise. Until next time, take care of yourself, stay strong, and keep moving forward. This is not the end, it's just the beginning. Thank you and goodbye for now.